Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out I left America for the Netherlands, Beyonce's trainer. So, is it like ex trainer or still his trainer? But then how does that work? So, maybe ex trainer, right? But, anyways, beautiful peeps, before we start off, okay, subscribe, click the bell button, and let's begin.
Why did Beyonce's personal trainer move to the Netherlands?
Quality of life is 100% better, although I'm probably making less than half the money I was making. Feel a lot more safe here. Less guns, less shootings, less mental illness. People who I was training, very affluent. The amount that you work, you don't really get to enjoy your money. What are you doing here? Let me pull a gun on you. It's not that like in the United States is. I want to be able to enjoy my life. So here, people have holidays. People want to come have dinner. People aren't really hustling here. People are not innovating as much. The Dutch are very much, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Whereas in the States, okay, yeah, let's try it. Dutch, if they don't like you, they don't like you. In the States, it's, yeah, I like you, but The celebrities here are
Mark is a world famous celebrity trainer who's trained some of the biggest names in the business, from Beyonce to Diddy to Mary J. Blige. He grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, hustled, and eventually achieved the American dream. And then he left. Mark has a really inspiring story, and I was really curious why someone who came from the bottom, made it to the top in America, decided to leave it all behind. Well, let's find out why. A lot I want to discuss today, but I'm curious to hear, who is Mark Jenkins?
I don't know. It depends on who you ask. But for me, I am a father. I'm a trainer. I'm a guy who, 54 years old, from Brooklyn, New York, who changed his life by getting in shape and want to give that same type of empowerment to other people. I joined the military in 1988 because I was so out of shape. I walked up to this guy when I got to my school in Meridian, Mississippi. Said, hey, I want to look like you. He happened to be a Navy SEAL. I trained with him. And maybe a year and a half later, I 29-inch waist, 22-inch arms. And I had a friend of mine who got kicked out the military because he was overweight. I trained him. He got in such good shape, I became like the go-to guy to get in shape for everybody who was overweight in the military. Did the Gulf War, Desert Storm. I thought it was useless information and training, so I wanted to be a lawyer, civil rights activist, because I saw so much discrimination in the military, in fact. It motivated me to become a civil rights activist, and got out the Navy and got a job in the post office because the military time continues. But they were giving me extra mail than everybody else because I was so much bigger than everybody else, and I was getting paid the same money. One day I complained to my gym manager. I was like, yo, man, size discrimination, man. And the guy was like, hey, Mark, why don't you get a job in the gym? You know about the body, become a trainer. He told me to take the job, and I got the job. And one lady I trained, she was like, hey, man, how would you like to train Brandy, the recording artist? And I was like, really? How much money? And she was like, $70 a day. And I was like, damn, if I get 10 clients, that's $700 a day. I'm rich. Because right now I'm broke. I don't have any money. And I trained Brandy, who's all of 12 years old. Idea in my head started like, wow, I could actually make some money if I target the right market. And the gym, one guy, he was very slim. I put some size on him. He said, hey, Mark, I have a client. I'm a publicist. I'm trying to get him from beyond the piano. He can play every instrument. Can you train him? And the result of that is the D'Angelo Untitled video where he did it with no clothes on. And that got me out of the projects. And Mary J. Blige and D'Angelo took me on the road. And thus I began touring Europe in 2000.
Well,
Long story short.
long story short,
Long story short.
that sounds like the American dream, which we'll get back to. But eventually, well, you came from the projects and eventually became a trainer to D'Angelo, Mary J. Blige, Beyonce, LL Cool J,
all kinds of folks.
and all these big celebrity names in America. And eventually, you decided to move here to
Yeah.
the Netherlands. Tell me about that. What brought you here?
Well, like I told you, I was touring. I've been touring hard for the last 25 years, but I've been married for 17 years. The touring really became the demise of my marriage. I got divorced. My kid's a little bit older now. I was stuck in a position where, hey, I didn't want to be going on the road. I wanted to further my business. And there's such a, and I guess we'll talk about that later when you ask some other questions, but there's a big hater culture in United States as well. And I was just getting sick of the hater culture. People want you to do well, but not better than them. So I was getting a lot of hate from people that I knew, people who I grew up with, friends, and also from a lot of the artists that I was training with because I was becoming in such demand the artists themselves would literally tell people not to work with me so they could work with me. So with all of that happening, I was just like, you know what? Let me try to come to the Netherlands. And I came to the Netherlands. I also met somebody who was very nice here at the same time. It seemed like a good time. I came here for a vacation, and I ended up severing my quadricep tendon. So that got immediately surgery. I was in the cast. I couldn't leave. I couldn't get on a plane. I couldn't do anything. So I was basically stuck here. So as I was stuck here recuperating, I said, hey, let me set up shop and start working and make the best out of the situation. So
Yeah.
combination of things, it was the hater culture. I was tired of touring. I was burnt out off the discrimination in the United States. The racism was super crazy because, as a celebrity trainer, I'm in all these exclusive neighborhoods and, these cops are getting ready to kill me when I'm just walking to somebody's house to go train them. So a lot of people in the Netherlands do not believe like it's real. Is it still like that in the United States? Yes. It's still like that in the United States right now to this day. There's something just happened, I guess, the other day. I think her name is Sonia Massey, who called the police because it was a disturbance. She felt somebody was robbing her, and the cops went to her house and actually shot her in the head.
Oh, yeah, I
But she's the one who
saw
called the police in her
that.
house because she heard something outside. So yeah, this is still happening today, and I just wanted to see if I could create some generational wealth in an environment that my children felt a lot safer in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
that was a big motivating factor for me leaving the United States as well.
many different factors, but since you brought it up, let's start with that. You mentioned you grew up in the 60s, 70s in the US.
The 70s.
70s.
Yeah, 54.
54.
Don't give me 60s. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
that old yet.
In the 70s.
Yeah, I'm getting there though.
So
I'm getting there though.
what's it like being black in the US versus being black here in the Netherlands?
Well, first of all, I cannot say in the Netherlands I'm having a true black experience because number one, I'm American. So it's a little bit of leeway, people looking at me differently. And number two, I'm coming in as a celebrity trainer. So I couldn't tell you if people are treating me. I doubt I'm having the same day-to-day black experience as someone who's born here and working 9 to 5 or going to school and going to a job. So that much I will say. That being said, it's been a quite refreshing experience. I mean, I've been coming here for a long time, like I said, and that was one of the things that attracted me to the Netherlands was people weren't tripping the way they are tripping in the United States off of being black. As a black man, you can get killed driving, you can get killed in your own home. The police are just as much a threat as the gangs. You have a lot of mental illness, so it's just for me, especially coming from a war, it was a very unsafe situation for me. Coming out of the military, I didn't feel safe in a lot of the neighborhoods. And as a taxpayer and a veteran, I just felt outraged that, wow, I don't even feel safe. Not only did I defend this country, but as a taxpayer, I'm paying for the police. And nothing seems to happen from election cycle to election cycle. Like it's still going on from when I was a little kid,
Yeah.
and I'm old.
Yeah. Well,
So that was a big factor. I just wanted to see what it was like, and also on a business level, I wanted to see what it was like to do business someplace that wasn't overtly racist like the United States.
yeah. Well, it sounds like here in the Netherlands, you mentioned safety. You feel a lot more safe being a black
Yeah,
person here.
I feel a lot more safe here. People, there's less guns circulating. So definitely just by default, you're gonna feel a lot safer because there's less shootings happening, but at the same time, my seat in the subway is always the last one to get filled and the subway has to be completely to standing capacity. People still don't want to sit next to a black guy. That still happens here. I still get that look like, what are you doing here in certain neighborhoods? Or how are you here? Or what are you doing here? What's going on? However, it's not, what are you doing? Let me call the police.
Yeah. It's more out of
That's the difference between the states, right? Between the states and the Dutch. Or what are you doing here? Let me pull a gun on you. It's not that like in the United States is.
Yeah.
So, but you still get that, okay, it has to be the last seat for someone to,
Yeah.
and it has to be jam-packed for someone to sit next to me on the train.
Yeah. You make a good point. The fact that there are less guns here, objectively,
Yeah.
there is going to be less problems based on that.
And there's healthcare, government subsidized, so there's less mental illness. So the combination of the two make the Netherlands a much safer environment, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. You've been traveling here off and on for many years now,
Yeah,
and you've
yeah.
been living here for the past year. How is life in the Netherlands in general?
Yeah, the quality of life is 100% better. I would say my quality of life is 100% better. And a lot of times you don't have anything to compare it to because I'm from New York, which is like the hustling capital of the United States, right? So that's where everybody hustles. So you're with the best of the best. And I like to think that's one of the reasons why I became such a good trainer is because it's so many trainers in such a condensed area. In order for you to make money being a trainer, you have to elevate your game. So New York is a place where you come to step your game up because the best of the best from all over the world are in New
Mm.
York. So if you're looking for some place to sharpen your fangs or to hone your skills, that is the place. That being said, I'm doing a 60-hour work week easy. That's not even flying because I was flying to see different celebrities and servicing different tours and doing businesses and making appearances. The amount that you work, you don't really get to enjoy your money or your quality of life. And even the people who I was training who were very affluent,
Mm.
it was the same thing for them. And so me looking at that and training them, I'm like, wow, I don't have much to look forward to. I'm trying to get to your level financially, but I want to be able to enjoy my life. So here, the quality of life, people have holidays. There's a certain amount of holidays you have per year. No one's working past 8 or 9 o'clock. People want to come have dinner together, families. So there's really not anyone to do business with after business hours
Mm.
because everybody's more family and social orientated. The making money is not the nucleus of the Dutch society where that's what it is in the States.
That's also what I've realized here as well. In the US, it's really about making money,
Yeah,
and you can make a lot of money.
right,
Here, the culture here is not so hardcore.
right.
And so it sounds like it's refreshing for you, even though
Yeah,
you came from that society of hustling.
it's definitely refreshing in the sense that I'm learning to smell the roses a little bit
Mm.
more and have time for relationships, have time for my mental health, have time for my wellness in general. Because you're working so hard to get that financial wellness, but you're neglecting all the other facets of wellness.
Mm.
So, sleeping and having downtime and having friends not in your industry and all these
Mm.
other things that I wasn't doing
Yeah.
in the United States. I didn't have time, so I had to have friends who I'm working with or close to me in proximity,
Yeah.
not necessarily people I had genuine connections with.
Yeah.
But it's only when you look back, like, oh yeah, I get it now.
Yeah. Time is a big thing, something that I realize as I get older, the importance of time,
Yeah.
where you seem to have a lot more time here instead of hustling.
Yes, yes, yes. But at the same time, it's super expensive here to live.
Mm.
So you have to find some type of way to make money.
It's a balance, especially in Amsterdam. You need to hustle to make money
Hmm.
because it's expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive here.
Um, and so you mentioned that as sounds like a positive culture shock, the fact that people don't need to hustle as much.
Yeah.
What other
The
culture shocks?
the negative culture shock is that, or I would say the culture shock is that people aren't really hustling here,
Mm.
based on the amount of advantages and degrees and access to information and facilities that they have. They're not really pushing like the states. I think because you have the blanket, the security blanket of the healthcare and the government taking care of you. There's less drive and people are not innovating as much
Which
here.
is okay.
I
Mm.
feel.
We talked about this earlier. Tell me
Yeah,
more
yeah.
about
We
this.
spoke about this earlier, and it's like, the Dutch are very much, if it's not broke, don't fix it. This is how we do it. You're the
Mm.
outsider. I know you're coming with your American ideas, but this is how we do it.
Mm.
So a lot of times,
Yeah, but I think it's okay though, because like I don't know, like you're gonna change the culture if you're gonna be that person who wants to like innovate, right? I mean, they do innovate in different aspects, like we've seen, right, in architecture, in technologies, machineries, whatever. They do innovate in that sense as a country, but maybe as a person, like a business owner, probably they don't innovate as much, right? Because they're just like, hey, let's take it easy. Why are we rushing? Um, and if you come in as the foreigner and then you try to do that, it's kind of like changing the culture as well, instead of like just adapting.
Times that attitude slows down progress or innovation because you're not open. The Dutch need to see something done before to actually try to do it. Whereas in the States, if you have a good concept,
You're just
you can pitch a
if
concept
you do that too, you're just gonna end up being like America at the end of the day, right?
to somebody and say, okay, yeah, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's go for it because we can corner the market.
Yeah.
Here, they're like, hey, we haven't tried that before.
Yeah, the American mentality is more let's try, let's dream big.
Yeah, let's
and
dream it up.
see what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, exactly.
Here it's a little bit more let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's wait and see. Here, you have to explain a little bit more,
Yeah.
and show the synergy of things.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, for example, you can go to a brand and say, hey, you guys, you should do a wellness party and gift your customers, your top frequent customers, and like, yeah, that's a tie. Here, it's like, how does that connect? I'm selling glasses. You're talking about jumping rope. I don't understand why I would have to do something wellness-wise for my employee. I don't, but followers, branding, Instagram, consumers, no, that's not the Dutch way. We never done that before. It's more like that.
Yeah.
So you have to explain a little bit more.
You have to explain a bit more. You also mentioned that back in the US, you trained a lot of celebrities.
Yep.
You also trained some big names here.
Yeah.
What are the differences between training celebrities in the US versus here?
The celebrities here are on time. They're polite. They have manners. They're not as entitled, but also less money. Because people here, especially with the government subsidy, they're not used to investing in their health and wellness. Doesn't mean it's not a market or I wouldn't be here. It just means that you have to use different avenues in order to reach people, and you have to show value with other brands. And you have to show the difference why your brand is superior. Yeah.
They're more on time. And
They're more polite.
More polite.
Yep. They're more respectful, definitely.
You mentioned less entitled as well.
Yeah, they're not wearing $1 million worth of jewelry. That's always interesting, yeah.
That's a big thing, especially the celebrities you worked with back in the States.
Yeah.
It's all about, look at me.
Some high profile, but to their defense, that's what people respond to in the States. You could be saying, watch your diet, eat healthy on a park bench, or you could say the same thing in front of a Lamborghini and go viral. Lamborghini in the background, but you're saying exactly the same thing. So, people are programmed here. And people are programmed there in the States and here as well. But here, it's more of a program to not step out of the box.
Yeah.
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 Whereas in the States, it's a programming to respond to wealth.
I've also realized that to be a big difference. In the US, it's really about standing out.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's more about fitting in.
Fitting in, exactly. Here, more conformity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, overt shows, displays of wealth are frowned upon. You're showing off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where in the States is that, wait, you don't have a car? What are you doing? You're not showing off anything. I don't understand. You're just talking about health and fitness. So two different types of marketing you have to do here.
To marketing. You also mentioned here you make less money because for you come from a world where in the US, especially with celebrities, the sky is the limit.
Right.
And then you come here where the sky is not the limit. There is a cap here. How have you gotten used to it if you have?
Yeah, well, it has forced me to develop other parts of my business that I didn't have to, or that I neglected to address because I was getting so much money training artists on the road. So my online I launched, I'm speaking to a lot of hotel resorts, I'm consulting with them for fitness retreats, and all of this is outside the United States. I have one in Thailand I'm working with, I have another one in Bali I'm working with some people in Turkey. So my guy who helps me, my business partner, he's South African. So, it's been interesting for me because I've been able to access an international team, with different people with different skill sets and who are rocking, who are really hungry and want to get some stuff going. So in that aspect, it's been very exciting.
You've had to think differently and adapt.
I've had to definitely try different business approaches, use different businesses, find different income. So I find myself here facilitating a lot of things, I have a lot of artist relationships and a lot of people here, brands want to do things with artists. So I've been able to connect artists with different brands and be able to make a living that way. I've been able to do training on a larger level, launching podcasts and doing major events. I've been training a lot of influencers here to launch my online program as well, and working on some TV stuff as well. So I've had to develop other aspects of myself which
Yeah.
is great at my age to be able to keep
Yeah.
evolving. You know, so I'm thankful for that. But just to rely on the personal training, people here are not used to paying for personal training. Their bodies is a fairly new concept to them. But everybody globally, as the food gets more toxic and the big pharma gets bigger, because they're giving you more prescription drugs and the food sources get more narrow and it's more GMO, you're going to have to invest more into your fitness on a personal level in order to maintain your health. So that's globally everywhere. So fitness is always a booming business. It's always up every year. If you look at it statistically, the
Yeah.
wellness business always goes up because globally, as these corporations get bigger, they start squeezing and there's less healthy alternatives.
And yes, wellness is always going to be here,
Yeah.
but you cannot make that much money here. And I'm curious,
Personal training,
personal training,
but you can make money wellness here.
you can make money in wellness
Yes.
here. And so has your relationship with money changed since coming to the Netherlands?
Well, I got children who are in college. I still have to make a lot of money, but I have realized that it's not the end all, give all. You know, it's not like, oh my God, you know, I'm going to die if I don't get this extra amount of money, if I don't close this deal. Yeah. I realized that having social wellness and occupational wellness and environmental wellness, you know, not to be running on the trains and hustling, to be in nature, you know, to be able to go to the beach,
Yeah.
look at the water, you know, all that stuff counts.
Yeah, and that's also part of the quality of life that you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
since
That's the
coming
quality
here.
of life. Yeah, yeah. So my quality of life is 100% better here, although I'm probably making less than half the money I was making in the States from personal training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you gone back to the States since?
Yeah, I've been back to the States. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'm curious about what, if any, reverse culture shocks have you had since going back to the
Yeah,
US?
you know, the trains don't have any AC. There's no Wi-Fi in the train stations. There's no bathrooms. One thing about the Netherlands, you know, you pay a lot of money in tax, but everything works. The trams work. Everything's clean. The trash gets picked up. The roads are paved. Everything works. In the States, it's not like that. You're paying taxes and nothing works.
So you see where the
So
taxes go.
at least you see where the tax dollars are going here. Yeah. So that's always a big culture shock to go back to the States and you see like, wow, man, you know.
Yeah. So that's a big one.
And the crime, you know, and the amount of homeless. As soon as you get back to the States, you see, you know, and if you're here in Netherlands, you know, you get used to not seeing, or once in a while seeing some homeless
Yeah.
people. But in the States, it's intense, man. As soon as anywhere you look,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the crime, there are homeless here, but you don't see them everywhere
Right,
on the
right.
streets.
Yeah, you don't see them.
Well, it's starting to rain, and I'm curious, do you miss anything about American culture?
I miss the ability to innovate. I miss my friends. I have a lot of friends, but I have a lot of friends internationally. But when I talk to my friends, I realize I don't miss much because they're still in the grind. You know, they're still hustling. It's still super intense. There's still a mental illness. You still run away from the police. The States are a great place, depending on where you're living at in the States. I would say, depending on how much you make in the States, and depending on your color in the States. So if you don't hit all of those criterias, then your States might not be a place for you. But there's challenges in every environment. There's no utopian
Yeah.
country, but I do realize, and I always tell my other friends from the States, there's other things outside of the United States you should definitely explore and see what resonates to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you have kids. Are they back in the US?
Yeah, my kids are in the States. I try to get them to come. They're like, Dad, the flight's too far. You come. So I always have to end up coming to them. But I have one 21 in college and one's a senior in high school. They're very international kids. They've both been going to Chinese immersion since that's small, so they both speak fluent Mandarin. You know, they both fly to China and, you know, work and do all of this stuff every now and then. They have exchange programs there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
International kids.
Try to raise them with an international mindset.
Yeah.
Because it limits you if you just think about the United States.
Yeah. Something
And
that
for Dutch people too, it limits you if you're just thinking about what works here. Especially if you're a young, hungry executive, you need to think about what's going on globally.
Yeah.
Or what's the new thing you can bring
And that's
from somewhere else
circumstance, yeah,
here.
true.
Because that's where the market is at. And that's what I'm doing with health and wellness.
Everything changes over time based on the fact that society moves, times change.
Yeah.
And so for you, when you grew up, you hustled and you seem to have achieved the American dream. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just saying
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. In a sense, yeah, I can see where people would see that, but the amount of struggle and the amount of time it took, at the end, to destroy my marriage.
Mm,
All I was doing was working.
yeah,
That's all I was doing. I didn't have a social life. I was literally jumping from plane to plane,
yeah.
training people, going on one tour, jumping on another tour. When an artist would finish tour and they go take a vacation for a year and a half, I would be right back on another tour,
Mm,
trying to build a brand and push. And everybody was like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
yeah,
You're not supposed to be taking care of yourself. You're supposed to be getting that money, get the bag
yeah.
at all costs. And uh, yeah, I don't miss it. That part I don't miss, and I don't miss the backstabbing. Here, if the
Yeah.
Dutch, if they don't like you, they don't like you. I respect that. If they like you, they rock with you. So, in the States, it's, yeah, yeah, I like you, but they're backstabbing you or sabotaging you. It's a big hater culture, especially in New York City.
Mm,
So the brotherhood or the camaraderie I have with my friends here is a much deeper thing. And a lot of times that's because of the financial stress that they keep egging on you. Like you're inadequate if you don't have money. That's the whole thing in the States.
mm,
But people here, they don't have the same value system.
People are more honest.
Yeah,
They won't. Well, if they have something, they'll say it to your face.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they'll help you here
Mm,
without looking for anything in return. Hey, I just
yeah.
want to, yeah, give you a hand, bro. You need some help, or I'll point you in the right direction, or.
Mm. And you mentioned you have kids in high school and college. Based on where the U.S. is right now, what do you think is the American dream for your kids?
The American dream for my kids is
To get
to
out of
be
there.
successful doing what they want to do. The younger generation changed too. They don't care about money. They want a job where they're getting fulfillment. But at the same time, I know it's my responsibility to create some generational wealth and someplace else for them outside of the United States because it's so volatile and racist, to be quite honest.
To achieve what they believe is success, and success, the definition of success,
It's different for
is
them than it is for
different.
me. Right.
Well, thanks for sharing all of this. So, what's next for Mark? Are you sticking around or?
Me, I love the Netherlands. I like living in Europe. I don't think I'll go back to living in the United States. But I'm looking to do more business on a global scale. So, like I said, I'm working with a lot of retreats and resorts, Bali, Thailand, trying to make a resort or a retreat space so that people I meet in the Netherlands and my fitness community, which is growing online, I can get them to a retreat and do my first one someplace cool and keep that going in different places. Ultimately, I am trying to work on a music project like Coachella, but for wellness, where you come out and there's actual performances there and everything is wellness based. So I want to do a Coachella and then take that and tour that like Lollapalooza and all of these other big concerts and big events all over the world.
I
Yeah.
And do
feel like
something
there's a
global that combines.
market for that, actually. There's music and then there is wellness. Maybe we're like doing Zumba when DJ or like a DJ is playing, right? Or a performance is that actually could be fun. Or like a dance class, like a hip hop dance class with Mark and let's say, I don't know, Beyonce is performing and we are doing her choreography. I don't know, something it will work, I guess.
Music and wellness at the same time. So that's what I'm working on here.
Yeah.
The big dream.
Sounds exciting.
Yep.
Well, Mark, thanks for sharing and best of luck to that dream.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, that was a really enlightening conversation. There were many points that I could resonate with as well. Again, this is Mark's perspective, and I would like to hear your perspective as well. Please leave them in the comments below, and I hope you take care. And if you're interested in what life is like in America for a Dutch person, check out my conversation with Paul, a Dutch CEO living in California. Paul shares his experience achieving the American dream, what it's like living in the US as a European, and much more.
Wow, let me know your input into this video. Yeah, it was really it's so nice to see someone's perspective, especially somebody else, because we've seen a lot of like people leave because of like life is better. Their life got better when they moved, right? But his It's kind of like the opposite. I mean, like his life did get better in different aspects. Like some people moved because like they have a better job, they got better pay. But for Mark, he was making more in the States and then he left, right? So it's like kind of like the opposite of other people that we've seen or we've reacted to. And yeah. So it's not necessarily because, oh, I moved to the Netherlands because it pays me better, but it's the quality of life, right? It's the quality of life that matters the most, I feel like, from everyone that we've seen so far. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and I will see you in another video, hopefully tomorrow. If not, you will get a notification when I upload. Thank you, and I'll see you then. Bye.